What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. And as you guys can see, bit of a different setup. I was getting some complaints about the microphone and where it was positioned and stuff like that. I actually kind of like it here, but if you guys don't like it, let me know. But if you are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Join the Andy gang. I'd love to have you guys here, or the squad, whatever you guys want to call it. I have another channel and I call it the Andy gang, but that's besides the point. But regardless, this is a video kind of summing up a few of the things that we've been finding out. It's a news and rumor type of video, and there's going to be a ton of these coming. So like I said, liking this video. If you don't want to subscribe, liking this video also helps. But tons of trade rumor videos coming. If you guys know me and you know this channel, that's like my bread and butter. Check out the QAG, Queensway Automotive Group. Link will be down below if you need a new or used vehicle. But yeah, I don't want to waste any more time. I want to direct you guys to 32 Thoughts. Now, Elliot Freeman was talking about Dubas and Pittsburgh. Now, a lot of people are a little bit ticked off about this because, oh, Dubas said, well, you know, if it's not Toronto, it's nowhere. Well, there's a little bit of a confusion there. I think that what Dubas meant was if he made the decision that he wasn't coming back on his own, that he wouldn't go anywhere else. But it looks like the Maple Leafs actually let him go. Like Shanahan fired him. And that's something I want to talk about more at length in its own video. But there's so many layers to this, including this ridiculous investigation that's going on with Dubas right now. Like literally every GM in the league does this, and as soon as Dubas gets fired, it's like, you know, the morning news. Like it's ridiculous. You know, so many of these reporters, like if they didn't have the Maple Leafs, then they like wouldn't have a job. Like, I hate to say it, but the thing is like a lot of these guys that don't cover the Maple Leafs all season, but they only cover them when big stories come out. It's ridiculous. These guys just do it for clicks, and please avoid those things because it's just ridiculous. Every GM does stuff like this, and it's happened a million times. But as soon as it happens in Toronto, it's like insane news. But again, besides the point, that doesn't need to be talked about like that. But Dubas and Pittsburgh seem to have a really good relationship already. He met with Sidney Crosby, so I just kind of wanted to clear that up because, I mean, it doesn't have too much to do with the Maple Leafs anymore because Kyle Dubas is no longer the GM of the Maple Leafs. But you know who could be the new GM, and that's Brad Treliving. He was the former GM of the Calgary Flames, and I know what a lot of people are thinking. You know, he's the guy that traded Tkachuk to Florida, and the Panthers are really good. But what I want to remind people is that Tkachuk trade was a lot of return coming back to Calgary looked like it was actually in favor of the Calgary Flames. Like that trade looked like it favored Calgary heavily. Huberdeau and Weegar. Tkachuk is a great player, but I was like, man, Huberdeau and Weegar, like that's crazy. What a trade. But it's turned out that Huberdeau didn't play that well. And Weegar is pretty solid, but obviously Tkachuk is literally dragging him, and Bobrovsky are like dragging the Panthers to the Cup final, and honestly, I think they're going to win the Stanley Cup. So a lot of people are bringing that up. I think Treliving is a guy that can do a lot of good with this team, and we're going to look at the cap situation in a second, but there's a lot of rumors that have come out that I want to make a separate video for it. So like I said, like and subscribe because it's coming. Like I'm making a lot of content this weekend because I have time off finally. But there's gonna be a lot of talk surrounding the core four and whether Tavares, Nylander, Matthews, or Marner are gonna be traded. It looks like Shanahan is saying they won't be. So I don't really know what's gonna happen there. But Treliving is gonna have to figure out a way to make this team better. And like I said, I'm going to show you soon if he ends up being the GM. Again, I'm not saying he's going to, but it's looking more and more likely with the way that they've been talking. They've been meeting with him. It looks like he's the guy, like Chris Johnston said, it's his job to lose at this point. So unless somebody comes in at the last second and steals this job from him, it looks like he's probably going to be the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts down below. So let me know down below. Do you think that he's a good choice for the GM spot? Is it a good move for the Leafs? We're going to have to see what he has to work with. So If we're looking at cap friendly here, and the salary cap is going to be 83.5, it's going up $1 million. At the time of recording this, the Leafs have over 14 million, nearly $15 million in cap space, with still Yarncrook, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, Nyes, and Sam Lafferty. Now, there's a lot of unsigned players which we can make a video on in itself, but on defense, technically they already have 6 guys, and I honestly think they're going to bring back Luke Schenn. So you could technically go into the season with these 6 plus Luke Schenn. So Timmins would probably be your extra guy. Giordano every night, maybe getting some rest here and there. But Muzzin's going to be on LTIR. Nick Robertson is probably going to end up on the team unless he gets traded. But he's on the injured reserve currently as we're making this video. I do believe, for the sake of this video, I'm going to put Murray in LTIR because it will put his cap space in there, or his cap hit, I should say. I do believe Murray is going to be traded or bought out or something like that. We'll make that in another video, or we'll talk about that in another video. So the Leafs should have almost $20 million to add an entire 4th line and probably a 2nd line caliber player. And who knows what else. Their defense, like I said, I don't think they need to make too much changes there. If they want to do anything, they can do it at the deadline. But Samsonov, I'd imagine, is going to be a goalie that comes back, and he'll probably be getting less than $4.6 million. But for the sake of this, we can just say that the Leafs are going to give the cap hit of Matt Murray to Ilya Samsonov, which, again, I don't think it's going to be. So the Leafs will probably have just over $15 million to spend. So that, free agency this year doesn't have the deepest pool of players. I know guys like Orlov is there. Bunting is going to be there. Do you bring him back? I think the Leafs are going to give Holmberg, Steves, guys like that a shot on their bottom lines. I know there's been some rumors about Corey Perry, maybe a Tyler Bertuzzi. We can look into all that. But the Leafs actually do have some money to play with for the first time in a while. And I think that their blue line being kind of set and potentially adding a guy like Luke Schenn, they still realistically could have $12 to $13 million to play with, maybe a little bit more than that. And that should be more than enough. And again, if they make a trade, like if you trade a guy like Mitch Marner and you get back a few pieces, then you're going to spread that out and you maybe save some money on your cap. If you trade William Nylander, maybe you get a couple pieces instead of one. I don't know. If you trade Matthews, same thing. The list goes on and on. But they actually have money. So whatever GM comes in is going to have a little bit of money to play with. They're going to have some players that they can move around. But they should be pretty solid in goal with Samsonov and Wool probably next season. They're going. I'm almost positive they're going to re-sign Samsonov. The only way that they don't is if they trade one of these big name players for a goaltender, and it'd have to be an elite one. It would have to be like a Hellebuck or a Saros or something like that, because I'm just sick of these middle of the pack goalies. If you want to let Samsonov and Wool go into the middle, see if they're good enough, and then make a trade, sure. But if you're going to make a move, I'd like to see them bring in an elite goaltender and probably another top 6 player. And then I need to see a rough and tough top 6 player. So they've got some work to do. They've got some money. But again, we're going to be making a ton of videos on literally every single player that I think could come to Toronto, every single rumor, every single trade, every single bit of news that we can, because that's what I do here. It's my bread and butter. So if you're new here, like this video and subscribe. Leave your comments down below. I know this was kind of just like a general discussion video, but tons is coming. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.